Hello everyone, welcome to Talking with Dr. Lars, your favorite health program on television, reaching you from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. My name is Dr. Lars Eze. On the program today, we'll be talking about living healthy with albinism. Yes, albinism is a genetic condition that is inherited from both parents and characterized by absence or low production of melanin. Melanin is the pigmentation on the skin. For instance, my skin or any dark person, or most even persons who are fair, is the pigmentation that you see on the skin. The hair, that's what makes our hair black or dark, and also the eyes, especially pigmented parts of the eyes. So without melanin, it has a number of implications, and that's what we call albinism. For someone to have albinism, it means that both parents, both the father and the mother, has the gene, that presents with that. So if one of them has it, it may not result to albinism. So in most cases, both of them must have those genes for it to be expressed. So, but you may also have persons with the gene, but not necessarily being albinos. So if one of the parents have the gene, it may pass it to the offspring, and the person may not even have albinism. But if he gets married to someone that has it, there are chances that they could have a child with albinism. So that's why you could see both parents who are dark and they deliver a child with albinism. It means both of them carry the gene. So it's something that we are paying a lot of attention today, because there are some health conditions that persons with albinisms are more predisposed to. And on this program, we do as much as possible to leave no one behind, to bring issues that affects perhaps minorities in our population or persons living with various kinds of disabilities. People with albinism experience, a lot of unpleasant, occurrences in their lifetime, even starting from childhood, where they experience discrimination, even within the family sometimes. At schools, they get called names and all of that. But beyond those social issues, which are very important and affect their mental health, they also predisposed to skin cancer, more than the general population. So the lack of melanin in their skin increases that predisposition, and the sun is something that they must protect themselves from, because it increases their risk to skin cancer. So this is what we'll be talking about today. I visited the Albino Foundation here in Abuja, Nigeria, and talked to some persons living with albinism, and they told us so many things that you're going to learn from, especially if you are living with it or if you have any loved one living with albinism. So do stay with us. We'll be right back and get into the conversation proper. Living healthy with albinism. Welcome back to Talking with Dr. Lars, your favorite health program on television. Yes, we're talking living healthy with albinism, and before the break, I gave introductory remarks. There are different types of albinism. There is one that is oculocutaneous, that's affecting both the eyes and the skin, and is a very common one. And you also have the ocular albinism, which affects only the eyes. So you might see some persons whose skin might not be so depigmented, but the eyes might be shaky. The rapid movement of the eyes that you find with those with albinism, they might be experiencing that. So that's those that have only the ocular type of albinism. But there are also some other types that are not so common, and I'll read it out. There is the Hermansky-Pudlak syndrome. Hermansky-Pudlak syndrome. We'll display them on the screen so that you see the spellings. There's also the Chediak-Higashi syndrome, and also the Griscelli syndrome. These are other types of albinism. So I talked with the president of the Albino Foundation, the chief executive officer, and I also talked with a number of persons living with albinism to share their experience. So the first person I'll bring to you is Eunice Uchechi Wokocha, and she talked about growing up with albinism, what our experience has been like. Do watch and hear what she told me.
Growing up in Nigeria as a person with albinism is quite difficult. Though family has made it easy for me to cohabit with other persons who are not persons with albinism, because they made me comfortable in my skin, trying to make me comfortable with all my siblings. But definitely when you go to school, the others think differently of you, they make mockery of you, they call you names, even your teachers even make mockery of you. At the same time, your peers are doing the same thing. So you hide in your cocoon. You actually feel shy to even mingle with your peers. But I, as a person with albinism, I already as a child understood that I was no different from any other person. I was just like every other person, just the color of the skin. But you know, others who do not understand this will not think the way family thinks with you. So in school, they call me names, they call me Oyibo Pepe, they call me unfortunate European, they even call you things you can't even imagine. So I braced up myself to, defend myself anywhere I find myself. But most persons with albinism I have met growing up don't feel the same. Some people hide themselves and can't even come out, and the society is not making it easy. I think more enlightenment has to be given to people to understand that persons with albinism are not different from other people with different skin color. What we just have is the lack of pigmentation that causes us to have a fairer skin than any other person. While in secondary school, I find it difficult as a person with albinism because of low vision, not just in secondary school, right from primary school. But my parents understood from the fact that I was trying to squint to get some things done or squint to see something. So they understood that I couldn't see far objects. So they made it possible that they would let my teachers know this is the challenge she has, put her in front of the class so that she would be able to cope with other students in the class. And this has helped me understand that I, as a person with albinism, have low vision. So anywhere I find myself, I strive to be in front so that I'll be able to cope and see and also do what every other person is doing. While in the university, it was the same thing. Even while during my master's program, I had a problem with a lecturer who actually wanted me to leave where I was comfortable to see the board and go behind the class where I would not even participate in the classroom. I tried to make him understand this is my challenge, but he didn't want to hear until after the class. I had to educate him on my own challenge. And then after then, he just understood that this is what I am going through. So he tried to even tell other lecturers to make it easy for me to cope in the class. So growing up as a person with albinism is challenging, coupled with the health challenges we face because of skin cancer when we expose ourselves under the sun. Many people don't know that the sun actually causes skin cancer for persons with albinism. So you have to understand that persons with albinism can't stay under the sun for even 5 minutes because they can get burnt, get freckles, and from then it develops into skin cancer.
Yes, Eunice talked about awareness, and that's exactly what we are doing here. And she also mentioned about the family support and a number of other issues there. So, but skin cancer is common, like she mentioned. What's her experience like going through skin cancer, and what support structure is on ground? So let's hear what Eunice also said about it.
Managing skin cancer for persons with albinism. First of all, you have to understand that from the skin, once you begin to have freckles, actually I didn't know anything about skin cancer. Even when I developed it as a child, I never knew anything about it. You would actually think it's more like a pimple. It starts more like a pimple and begins to expand once it's not been attended to. Mine started like that. Gradually it opened up, and gradually it was expanding until a doctor, actually, I was taken to a medical doctor who, after checking through, said, okay, there have to be a surgery for me to remove that portion. It was actually on my face, so it was removed, but after that no further treatment was done. I was just told it will heal up, but after that it just expanded even more and became wide. I was actually in JS3 when it started, and when the surgery was done in SS1. So after my SSE, my sister was able to research to actually understand what this is, because it was becoming bigger and bigger, until she researched and found out that persons with albinism are prone to skin cancer. So while she researched, she found about the Albino Foundation, who now enlightened us that persons with albinism are prone to skin cancer, and I was asked to join her here in Abuja, where we went for medical checkup, and they said no, this has to be taken off immediately, or else it is detrimental. I could even die in the process. So after it was removed, they took the sample to the lab to check what kind of skin cancer it was, and it was stated that it was basal cell carcinoma. And from there, others were developing, because I had exposed myself to the sun without knowing that the sun was harmful to me. So after the first surgery and subsequent surgery, I've had 5 surgeries in 7 different places on my face for skin cancer. Managing skin cancer is just stay away from the sun, because the process you will go through, the pain you will go through, the psychological trauma you will go through in the process of trying to remove the skin cancer and trying to get treatment like radiotherapy or chemotherapy, depending on the stage of the cancer. If it has spread to other parts, they will have to do chemotherapy to help curb it. If it's in a particular place, they will have to radiate to kill the cells so they don't spread. And you know that it is very expensive, and if it's not taken care of immediately, persons with albinism who have skin cancer could lose their life. Depending on the stage, it could be benign, it could be malignant. We've had persons with albinism who had skin cancer and have died in the process of trying to get health care for them. Many of them were not able to access the health care as at that early stage where it was manageable. For me, I was able to get treatment because family, and at a point in time, government came into play to help the financial aspect. If not, I don't know what would have become of me as at this moment. So persons with albinism really need health care to be able to curb skin cancer. Sometimes when they go to hospitals and they are there, they need to be taken care of. They need immediate attention so that the skin cancer does not spread, and it sometimes means them losing their life. So persons with albinism needs to take good care of their skin also to prevent skin cancer. Wear protective clothes, use sunscreen, stay away from the sun, seek shade at any point in time you find yourself going out in the sun. It's not easy to stay out of the sun, especially in Nigeria, where you have to hustle up to keep yourself going. I, for one, am a shoemaker, so I have to go through with my business processes. Definitely I have to go buy things and be under the sun, but I take precautions. I use umbrellas, I use protective clothes, and I use hats, and I use the sunscreen, and I seek shade at every moment I find myself under the sun. So first of all, persons with albinism need to take care of themselves. For those who have not had skin cancer, so that they don't develop skin cancer because they won't really enjoy the process.
Okay, yes, she mentioned benign and malignant. Yes, cancer is malignant. When it's benign, it's not cancer. So we don't mix that up. So benign lesions of the skin are not cancerous. They are just other things that could be treated. But when they are cancer, it means that it's malignant. You know, so good to know that there was government support to persons living with albinism, but we are going to know more about that after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Talking Health with Dr. Lars, your favorite health program on television. Yes, good to know that the government of Nigeria at some point provided funding support for persons living with albinism. Mr. Jake Appellate, the founder of the Albino Foundation in Nigeria, told us about this. Please watch and hear what he said.
By the beginning of 2007, we were inundated with persons with albinism with skin cancer. As a young organization, we really didn't know what to do other than to resort to trying to get solution or treatment for persons with albinism. And so my encounter with a number of doctors, dermatologists, it was obvious that nobody with albinism with skin cancer at the time can afford the treatment. And it left me to no other choice than to go to government. So I went to the government of Olusegun Obasanjo, and through the secretary to the government, then late Ikaito Ford, the president agreed that, okay, look, Jake, I'm not going to promise you anything. I'll just treat 5. Send 5 to National Hospital. And he gave them instruction, you know, and they treated 5. They haven't even finished treating 5. 20 showed up. So they couldn't stop. And we continued until then Dr. Shegu said, listen, we need to find a lasting solution to this. So we came together with Ministry of Health and agreed to have Federal Ministry of Finance to pay for that treatment at the National Hospital. It kept going back and forth until Obasanjo finished his tenure. But they were treating, you know. And then it got to Musa Yar'Adua, you know. I remember the then Minister of Health asked me, what do we do? So I said, look, let's have a presidential task force on albinism, persons with albinism with skin cancer. It was agreed to and inaugurated. You know, there was a presidential task force, and we began to find lasting solution. In the course of time, the bill had piled up, you know, and the hospital started threatening that they were going to stop the treatment. So we went cap in hand to the then Minister of Finance, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and she gave us express approval, and 17.8 million was paid to National Hospital directly. And so they continued the intervention in a way until it got out of hand. We were talking about the hundreds of thousands of naira that they were not getting paid anywhere. And so when the administration of Buhari came in, I want to also say that the 17.8 million naira was paid by the administration of Goodluck Jonathan. When Buhari came in, initially they took on the treatment and stopped. And then we, through media advocacy, we got the attention of the president, and he reinstated the treatment. And they continued for a while and then stopped. And since then, nothing has happened.
Okay, some of the beneficiaries of this support provided by the federal government of Nigeria also talked to us. So let's hear them.
I have a growth on my skin close to my ear. So the doctor, they cut it off and remove it so that it will not result to skin cancer, the huge one. I was given a letter from Albino Foundation. So it was through Albino Foundation I went to National Hospital. The treatment was free. Some parts you pay, some you will not pay.
I noticed I have a little issue on close to my eyes here. I just noticed it. I have to run down to National Hospital to go and check. I was even scared then. I was thinking it was skin cancer, but when I got to the hospital, the doctor now told me that it's not skin cancer, that it's just a minor skin infection. So mine was taken care of earlier, very early at the early stage. Although it was not a skin cancer, but it's because I was informed. That was why I went to the hospital. Some people will not be informed like that, and they will stay. It will get to another level and become something serious.
I myself went for the treatment. In 2013, I was having a little boil, so I have to go for the treatment. I took a letter here, and I went to National Hospital, and the doctor recommended that I take a little treatment. My own is keloid. It's not a skin cancer per se, but it's a keloid. So I went to the hospital. I saw the doctor. The doctor gave me a treatment, an injection and a little drug, of which I take, and it cooled it down.
Thank you for still being there with us. It's unfortunate that this support is no longer available as we speak, and we'll join our voice to Albino Foundation and so many other persons who are calling on the government of Nigeria to restore this support to persons with albinism, especially as it has to do with enhancing their access to treatment of skin cancer. So Mr. Appellate has some advice to persons living with albinism and also recommendations to the government and private sector as well as development partners. So let's hear what he has to say.
The first thing first is a recommendation to the community of persons with albinism. Please stay away from the sun. Don't expose yourself to the sun. Wear your long sleeve, wear your hat, make sure that you run away from the sun. People say, well, I wear sunscreen. Sunscreen can't help you that much. Just 10 minutes, and then the effect will go away. And if you don't reapply, you become vulnerable. Secondly, government needs to get involved. You know, equip the hospitals, designated hospitals, and allow these individuals to go and get early treatment to avoid cases of malignant cases that will become out of hand. You know, state governments needs to begin to create a vote, you know, to give access to quality health for persons with albinism in this regard. You know, there has to be, I think there's a need to drive this even in the educational curriculum so that they are properly educated, you know, and find a lasting solution to this menace of skin cancer. Of course, we are still calling on the federal government to reinstate the treatment. At least start from there. The free treatment needs to be reinstated. The inclusion of skin cancer as part of the Presidential Intervention Fund needs to come. Private sector should come together and help persons with albinism. I mean, somebody like you and some other fund needs to be encouraged. You know, I know Project Pink Fund and all that. Any fund that is geared towards health, you know, and also development partners needs to factor issues around albinism into the development program so that a proper budgeting can be made for it. And of course, persons with albinism needs to get involved in disability movement. That's why you have a voice.
That's all we can take on the program today. I really want to thank the production team as well as you, our viewers, that have been keeping dates with us on this program. I join my voice to what the people with albinism are asking for. Let the government at the state and various levels help in enhancing access to skin cancer management, and of course the mental health support and education for teachers and every other person around, so that we understand and acknowledge that persons with albinism are human beings like us. It's just that the pigmentation on their skin is not there. Thank you for watching. My name is Dr. Lars Eze. See you same station, same time next week. Bye for now.